Hey boys, welcome back to the channel, and it is going to be State of Origin Game 2, the analysis discussion. Well, not analysis, we're going to just be previewing the game, giving my thoughts. Some big changes for both teams, which is to be expected with how everything has gone and injuries and end of the year action, but and also form. But yeah, let's get into the preview. We'll go through the team list. I'll give my my thoughts on the matchups and whatnot, and yeah, once again, I'll prelude everything I say by I am a Queensland supporter, so there's going to be bias, and obviously I am tipping Queensland to win the series. I'm not, again, I'm never confident going into Origin. I'm confident that we can win, but I'm never comfortable. Let's say that. I'm never comfortable. The nerves, dude, there's never... I know people are saying that the Origin is... it doesn't feel as impactful this year. And I do agree to an extent, but, dude, before kickoff, I never feel any more nervous than before an Origin game. So that's still true. But yeah, let's go in. So fullbacks, James Tedesco holds his spot. He's actually the captain, which I think fair enough. He's been their best player for a long time, or one of their best players for a long time now. He's had a just incredible season after season. He always leads by the front. Copped a little bit of criticism, but he was one of their best once again last week. Valentine Holmes comes in for AJ Brimson, which is a huge loss. It's very disappointing that Brimson is out because he was sensational. And it's, yeah, I'm just sad he isn't getting to finish off a great end of year. Obviously, he had that terrible back injury to keep him out at the start. He played... he was one of the best players for the back end of the season at the Titans. Came into the Origin arena, played incredible. But Valentine Holmes, he comes in, and a lot of people are sort of writing Holmes off. I actually think this is a very good replacement. I mean, I love Brimson, but I think Holmes... I wouldn't say offers more than Brimson, but I mean, he's got more experience, and I just think... I don't know. I mean, obviously Holmes is going to come into the team, and ideally it would have been, Brimson stay at fullback, and he would have come in for either Coates or Philip Semi, depending. But dude, honestly, Holmes was... I know he copped criticism, but I don't know. I was starting to warm to Holmes playing for the Cowboys at fullback. He, just had a bit of a rough run with injuries and whatnot, and I think Holmes will play terrific. I think he'll be very, very good come Wednesday night. So I'm not disappointed with Holmes coming in at fullback. I think he'll match it with Tedesco for sure. And I think Holmes is a much better ball player than Tedesco. Tedesco probably a little bit more busy and running the footy a little bit more dangerous at times. But I think actually think Holmes has more round. I'm not saying he's a better fullback, but I think overall, he's got better ball playing skills than Tedesco, which I know people I'm sure people will jump on that and disagree. But let's move on. The rest of the back line is completely similar. Tupou v Coates, Gutherson, Capel, Wyden, Gagai, and Adokar Semi. I thought for the Blues, Adokar was far and away their best outside back. Tupou was okay, came up with a couple of big errors and just didn't really I thought he would probably have a bit of a, not a field day against Coates, but I thought he should probably get the upper hand against the young kid. Didn't do it, and then the centers of Gutherson, Wyden had absolute shockers. There's no two ways around that, and I'm still I mean, I can see why Fittler didn't switch them, because if he gets rid of Gutherson or Wyden and brings in a proper center, he's basically resigning himself to the fact he got it wrong. And I think Fittler is pretty full of himself, in all honesty, and I don't think he wants to admit that he's a bit of a fool and he should actually play centers in the center position. So I do think especially Wyden. Wyden will have a much stronger game in defense. I mean, Wyden's a good defender, and he got embarrassed by Dane Gagai. So, I mean, Wyden's going to come out fired up. I think he'll play a good game, and I think Gutherson will definitely play better as well. So I'm not expecting what we saw last week with Capel and Gagai just destroying Gutherson and Wyden. I think it'll be a much more... Yeah, I think it'll just be a much more even sort of matchup, in all honesty. I still can't pinpoint why they were so bad, but yeah, I think they'll play a lot better. And then on the flip side, Gagai, I mean, he always stands up. Kurt Capel, it's still a little bit, I mean, I love Capel. I still think if the Blues are smart, they will target his edge because he is a back rower. He's got speed for a back rower, but he's definitely not at, he's not an outside back level speed. So I think there's a chance for the Blues to really target that edge and come away with some points. But one-on-one Capel, you're not going to find a much tougher and stronger defender one-on-one, but I think with a bit of speed, they can definitely target Capel. And I guess the other issue is the injury is definitely a concern. But I mean, if Wayne Bennett plays him, you would imagine he's good to go. Because we can't afford Capel to go down. We honestly do have a little bit of cover in the team if he goes down during the game, but it'll be a bit of it won't be great. It won't be great. Then we move on to the halves. So big change. Cody Walker now comes into Cleary, who is out of the squad, out of the team. Now, I do agree with most people that say that Cleary was worse than Keary. I do agree with that. But at the same time, I think people are sort of giving Keary a little bit too much leeway just because Cleary was so bad. Now, should Cleary been dropped? I don't know. I honestly don't think so. I mean, he did, as much as I don't really like Cleary, he did get his Panthers to a grand final. He obviously didn't play great in the grand final. He didn't play very good in game one, but he's been one of the form halves. I think it would have been a little silly to drop him. Keary, on the other hand, I think his form hasn't been great for the Roosters. I think the Roosters at the back end of the season weren't that good with, they had quite a few injuries and whatnot, but the Roosters definitely, struggled at the back end, and I thought Keary wasn't playing that well. I was surprised that he got picked for game one. It made sense because I guess, they've always wanted the Keary-Cleary combination, but I do think that Cody Walker has been in much better form than Luke Keary. So it makes sense to me that Keary has been dropped. I'm a little surprised. I mean, Fittler, he did the same thing to Cody Walker last year. I didn't even think Walker played that badly in the first game. He just didn't really get involved. He got hooked with time left in the game, and then he was dropped for the remainder of the season. And now he's basically done the same to Luke Keary, which, I don't know. I'm sort of like, this chop and changing, like, it's Origin, dude. Like, sometimes you just got to stick with it. And, if they play badly for the full series, yeah, next year they're gone. But I don't know. I think there's definitely a valid reason to stick with Keary and Cleary for the 3 games. But he switched it. Cody Walker now starts. I think it does probably strengthen their bench because, Cody Walker was good coming off the bench, but it just, it sort of made, if they get an injury, which they did, it sort of made their lack of forwards a bit of an issue. So I think overall it probably strengthens their team a little bit, but yeah, bit of a tough call on Luke Keary, even though I think he should have been there in the first place. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on. And also he wanted to play for Queensland. So I'm actually, honestly, this is a bit off topic, but I'm actually just surprised that New South Wales have been so keen to bring Keary in, dude, because he said for years that he was a Queenslander. He was born in Queensland, and I know people will come up with other Queenslanders, and that's not my point. I'm not salty about Kiri playing for New South Wales and the eligibility, I'm just sort of like, I'm just surprised you would pick a guy that wanted to play for Queensland, because it's Origin, you know? You're meant to hate the opposition. So, I don't know, a bit off topic, but I'm just sort of like, on principle, why would you pick Kiri? Even if he is eligible. Like, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Then we move on to the forward. So, a couple of big changes. Payne Haas comes in the starting side, which honestly, I sort of talked about this in my preview for Game 1, that I thought Payne Haas was a bit of a strange bench option, because he's got a lot of impact, but honestly, his day-to-day game is just big minutes. He can get through a lot of work. He's got a good motor. And coming on the bench for like 20 to 30 minutes, it just didn't really... Yeah, he didn't add that spark, which some of the Queensland forwards did coming off the bench. So I think it makes sense, and we'll see him later, but Junior Paulo goes back to the bench, which I think Paulo does add a bit extra, but at the same time, I actually think Paulo is very similar to Payne Haas. Like, they both can play big minutes. They both have an offload, decent footwork. So, I don't know. I do think Paulo is a better bench option just for that impact, but I don't know. New South Wales are going to have to really, work harder off the bench in my opinion. And then Daniel Saifidi, I think he probably was there. Yeah, I would say he was their best forward for Game 1. He was very strong, his stints. And then Angus Crichton comes in for Boyd Cordner, who was out with concussion, which is unsurprising. Honestly, Cordner's been a good player for a long time. I actually don't think this is probably an upgrade, because I really like Angus Crichton. I think he's just got more. I think he's a better player than Boyd Cordner. It's a little harsh to say. Cordner, he's safe as houses, and he can, he's tough as they come. But I think Angus Crichton just has a little bit something more than Boyd Cordner. So I think it probably strengthens their team a little bit. And then Frazelle and Jake Chaboyevich. Honestly, Frazelle is the man that's lucky not to be dropped, dude, because he was missing in Game 1. I honestly don't even remember him playing in Game 1. Yeah, honestly, and that's sort of Frazelle as a whole. Like, he can play like incredible games, and he can just look unstoppable at times. And even for the Dragons, he just goes missing from games, and I don't know why. Like, he's as strong, as quick as they come, and he just doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to get involved like you would want your Origin forward to get involved. But he come in Game 2 and absolutely blitz it. So always a threat. And then for the Maroons, a big change. Dynamis Louis actually comes in for Welsh, which is obviously a huge loss. Christian Welsh, one of the best front rowers going around. So much impact, has a great late offload. Massive loss. Massive. I actually didn't realise that Welsh was out until recently. And when I first saw that Louis was into the starting team, I was pretty disappointed to begin with. I was like, why is Louis there? I'm like, you got Fodawaker on the bench, you got Carrigan in the squad, you have, who else? Even Josh Maguire could come in. I'm like, really, Louis? But honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? This is like your perfect Queensland forward. He's not flashy. He's not flashy at all. I don't think he doesn't really have an offload. He occasionally does, but he's not a flashy player. He just does his work. I always loved him as the Broncos coming off the bench. And obviously when he went to the Raiders, he became more of a leader there, and he's played very well for the Raiders for a good few seasons now. And he just does the hard work. He does his job. He's not going to top the stats. He's not going to get that Man of the Match award, but he just gets in there, makes his tackles, takes the strong runs. So honestly, he's perfect. He's perfect for the Origin arena. And this is one of the big differences between Queensland and New South Wales. You might argue that, well, it's because Queensland lack the depth of New South Wales, and that is true. That is true, but it also just sort of illustrates Queensland giving these guys that just work hard they want guys that really want to be there. And Louis, I can see him having a really strong game, and I'm happy he's there. Jake Friend, I thought the first 20 minutes he looked a little bit out of it, but he came into the game strongly. I thought I played the full 80 minutes. I thought he got better and better, so I think he will continue to play better footy for the second game. Josh Papali, I thought without being his probably dominant best, he was still very, very good. Felice Kafusi, Tino, Fasuma Ali. I still feel like him off the bench and Jai Arrow starting would be stronger, but I mean, Jai Arrow coming off the bench was massive for the Queenslanders. He just had so much toughness and just, dude, Jai Arrow, one of the best forwards running around, dude. He's incredible. And then the man Jaden Sewer, and I talked about this. I still don't know why Cohen Hess got selected. I don't know, dude. Maybe, I mean, Wayne Bennett knows what he's doing. Maybe he just wanted to see if Sewer could handle the big occasion coming off the bench. He obviously did that. He was incredible. Massive hits, great running. He starts. Cohen Hess is out of the team, which it just makes it stronger. Like, this is a better Queensland team now. With Fodawaker coming onto the bench with Hunt, Collins, Arrow. That's a strong bench, dude. Like that, it has impact, it has footwork. Ben Hunt has that versatility. I really, really like this bench. I still think Carrigan is unfortunate to miss out. I still, as much as I like Louis being there, I still probably think Carrigan deserved the spot over Louis, but like I said, he is like your typical Queensland forward to come in, and I'm not disappointed. And then we look at the New South Wales bench, which is very, very strong. Dale Finucane, Junior Paulo, Brown, and Yo. It doesn't have the versatility of a Ben Hunt, and I think, I think that is an issue for them, but it does have that impact. I mean, Junior Paulo, Nathan Brown, Isaiah Yo. I mean, Yo's an interesting one because, I mean, he sort of does add that versatility. He can play in the centers if needed. He's good on his feet. He's got a, decent with the ball in hand. So he's probably the one guy that does add that versatility and playmaking option. And then Dal Finucane, as tough as they come, you can just, if Dal Finucane was a Queenslander, dude, he would be that Dallas Johnson. He would play every Origin starting, but that's New South Wales. They have an abundance, and Dal Finucane's just been a bit unlucky over the last couple of seasons, not to get more of a run, but he gets to go here in the number 14. So I don't know. The benches are very different. I'll be interested to see how they go. I'm interested to see how Nathan Brown goes because obviously he's gonna try to fire up, and we'll see. I don't know. Is he going to taper back his game a little bit? Obviously, it seems weird to say because Origin in the past, like, you want these guys to, play a bit dirty. Like, that was Origin. You got away with it. But nowadays, you don't really get away with stuff anymore. So, I don't know. We'll see what Nathan Brown does when he gets out there. But I like both teams' benches. I'd probably give it to Queensland. I just think with that versatility of Ben Hunt, it adds quite a bit. And I just like their forwards, honestly. Lindsay Collins was great. Jai Arrow, incredible. And the debutant in Fodawaker, I guess he's the one to watch. But, I mean, the way he's played for the Titans in a forward pack that's been pretty weak, he's carried that Titans pack, so I'm not too concerned with Fodawaker coming into the Origin arena. He's had to burden the load as a young kid, and I think he'll do a fantastic job. So there's the team list. I think Queensland, like I said, will win the series. I don't think they're going to win well. I think it'll be another close game. Like I said, I think New South Wales, they'll be pretty embarrassed, especially Gutherson and Wyden. So I think their defense will be a lot stronger. I think they might have a better game plan with Cody Walker now at 5'8" and probably targeting Kirk Capel. So, I'm worried, but at the same time, I think this Queensland team has it in them to win the series. And hopefully they do. But let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Who's going to win? Any big notable changes that you like, that you don't like? Any others that you would make? Let me know in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next one.